Now we come to the Dhamma Desana, the Dhamma talk time of today, our Visakha celebration, our remembrance of the 4 great events in the Buddha's life, or all the great events in the Buddha's life. This is also called Buddha Day, the Buddha Purnima in India, the full moon, the Buddha's full moon. And we're very fortunate today that we have senior international Bhikkhuni Dhamma teacher, Visakha, who I've known for more than a few years now, from afar mostly. I saw her only ever so briefly at one Shakyatītha conference, and then just a few months ago when I was in Australia, just about to come back here. And then I went to Santi Forest Monastery, which is in the Southern Highlands, just south of Sydney, and it turned out that Venerable Liệu Pháp Dhammadharini, who's sitting here on my right side, that she was in the area at the very same time. Well, actually, it wasn't quite like that. I was in Sydney and she was in Brisbane, and then I went to Brisbane to teach and she came to Sydney. And then I thought, oh, so close but so far. We both come from other countries and here we are. Seems like very near, but are we going to have a chance to be able to meet each other? But then it turned out when I was at Santi Forest Monastery that also she was able to visit Santi Forest Monastery at the same time. And so I was very happy about that, and then even more happy when she told me she's coming to California soon. So this was a great delight and surprise. And so then I immediately invited her if she would please come to Northern California and have a chance to visit our new monastery and also our forest hermitage. She's seen pictures for the last I don't know how many years. I see the pictures of what she's doing and she sees the pictures of what I'm doing, and yet to meet has been so rare. And now we had 2 chances within a 2-month period. I feel it's very fortunate. And also on Vesak Day. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about her. So I know many things about her work as an international Bhikkhuni teacher, but I've learned more about her now that I'll share with you. So Venerable Bhikkhuni Liệu Pháp Vidita Dhamma. Liệu Pháp means Vidita Dhamma in Vietnamese, so it's the same name, but pronounced in 2 different languages, in Vietnamese and in Pali. In Pali, Vidita Dhamma. What does Vidita mean? Understood, so like understanding the Dhamma, or who has understood the Dhamma. What a great name. She was born in 1967 in Vietnam to a traditional Buddhist family, and went into monastic life right after she graduated from Teachers Training College, having majored in English in 1991. So actually we're a similar age, and we went into monastic life like within the same decade anyway, within 5 years of each other, within 2 or 3 years of each other even. So after being trained in Mahayana tradition for 3 years, she diverted to the Theravada tradition and was fully ordained as a Bhikkhuni in Sri Lanka in the year 2002. So I was so surprised because I heard the first international ordinations in Sri Lanka were 2003. And I know some of those who went for the first, what were called the first international ordinations, but somehow she went earlier. In 2002, and she was one of the first Theravada Bhikkhunis in Vietnam, in contemporary times, would say. She did her diploma in Pali with a gold medal, MA, Masters of Philosophy, PhD in Buddhist Studies, majoring in Pali and Abhidhamma at the University of Delhi in India. And she's now the deputy head of the Department of Dhamma English at Vietnam Buddhist University in Ho Chi Minh City, and Abbess of Sunyata Bhikkhuni Arama in, I can't pronounce the name of the place, I'm sorry. But maybe she'll tell you, but it's in Vietnam. And I've seen these beautiful pictures of the Sunyata Bhikkhuni Arama in Vietnam. Vietnam. Who knows, maybe someday I'll have a chance to visit there and see the growing Bhikkhuni Sangha there. Besides teaching Buddhism, Pali, and English at university, she regularly conducts weekend meditation courses for adults and annual Dhamma summer camps for children. I'd like to say that since the year 2012, I think, she really came onto my radar because of arranging for an international Bhikkhuni ordination in India, in Vesali. And then I've seen her acting as one of the teachers and one of the training teachers for the Bhikkhuni ordinations in country after country, which is, I think, one of the founding Bhikkhunis of the ASEAN Bhikkhunis Association. And 2 years ago in Australia at Santi Forest Monastery, she was appointed a Bhikkhuni preceptor. So to my knowledge, she is the most recent of our growing group of international Bhikkhuni preceptors. So there being Bhikkhunis who are senior enough and experienced enough to teach or to act as preceptors, while there not being such Bhikkhunis is quickly becoming a thing of the past. Yes, we have an increasing number, and of those who are really growing in their depth of practice, their depth of understanding, their ability to teach and communicate that to others. And also when there are women who have the aspiration to enter into monastic life, for people who have the aspiration to enter into monastic life, the way is being progressively unblocked, I'd say. More and more opportunity is opening up. So I'm very happy to see this, and I rejoice in her really dedicated part in this for the last decade or more, going on nearly 3 decades in monastic life now. So we'd like to now honorably invite Venerable Bhikkhuni Liệu Pháp. Maybe I'm not pronouncing correctly. Try to get me to say another 10, 20, or 50 times after this. Venerable Dhammadharini to share her thoughts on Dhamma with us this afternoon, today on our Visakha day.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dhammasavanakalo ayam padanta. Dhammasavanakalo ayam padanta. Dhammasavanakalo ayam padanta. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Respect the Most Venerable Tathaloka, the Abbess of Dhammadharini. I respect the Bhikkhuni Sangha, dear Dhamma friends. Today I'm very happy to be here with you on the Buddha Day. And first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Venerable Tathaloka for giving me an opportunity to share my experience in studying and practicing the Dhamma to you here. She is very kind to arrange my visit to Northern California monasteries. Not only here, but also after this, she will take me and to Aranya Hermitage and Aloka Vihara, which I already saw on the pictures. And now I have a chance to see with my eyes. I think that thanks to internet we become closer. Every activity in my temples we can see, and what you are doing here I can also observe through the images, and we become very close, and we keep in touch, and we encourage one another in our practice and in our propagation for the Dhamma. Today is the Buddha Day, where we commemorate the three great events in the Buddha's life. The day when he was born, the day when he got enlightenment, and the day when he passed away, or we can say the parinibbana. So the Buddha is the enlightened one. So what made him different from us? You see, he was born as a human, but later he was called Buddha. So I would like to know from your opinion, what is the difference between ourselves and the Buddha? What makes him special and different from many others in the world? So let's think about it and raise your hand and let me hear your opinion. What makes the difference between the Buddha and other worldly people like us and many other people, many other beings in this world? Please.
He wasn't making any more karma.
So the difference is that he doesn't make any more karma. Okay, that is right. And any other idea? What makes him different? Yes, please.
He pursued enlightenment throughout his adult life. And so he learned from all of the major saints in the India area and still did not achieve enlightenment. Then when he sat by himself with that determination, strong determination, was at that point.
Can you speak a little bit louder, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Maybe stand up.
Okay. Okay. So he found the way by himself.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And what did he fight? Okay, please.
Greed,
Great.
anger, and ignorance.
So he destroyed
Yes.
greed, hatred, and anger. Yes, and we haven't destroyed yet. Huh? Right?
Yeah.
We have destroyed a little. Greed, hatred, and anger. But the Buddha destroyed all we can say mental defilements.
Yes.
And when we say that he got enlightened, so what that he was enlightened of? What is the object of his enlightenment? Please.
He understood the suffering, that everybody suffer, and the cause of suffering, and a way to get.
Yes, it's correct. We call the Four Noble Truths, right?
Yes.
Yeah. In the first sutta that the Buddha delivered to the group of the 5 monks, Kondanya, and the other 4 monks. So in that sutta, the sutta is called Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, turning the wheel of the Dhamma. So in the sutta, the Buddha said that only after he realized the Four Noble Truths that he declared in the world that he has become a Buddha. So that is the answer for us. What makes him become a Buddha? Because of his understanding of the Four Noble Truths. The Four Truths, those are the truths that the Buddha realized, that the Buddha discovered. we sometimes we have eyes, we have very clear eyes, but we can't see the truth because of ignorance, avijja, and craving, tanha. Sometimes we see the truth, but only one side of truth, not the whole truth. Because you see that, for example, if usually we can see only one side. If I sit from this side, so I can see only this side. And if you are there, you can see only that side. Sometimes we can see the both sides because of our position, because of our angles. But the Buddha who see from all the angles, so he can see very clearly from many different angles. That is why he is called the Buddha. He knows everything if he wants to know. And the Four Noble Truths, the first one is dukkha, suffering. The second truth is dukkha samudaya, or the cause of suffering. The third truth is the cessation of suffering, dukkha nirodha. And the fourth truth is the path leading to the cessation of suffering, dukkha nirodha gamini patipada. So first of all, we say about truth, about the first truth, the suffering, dukkha. I think that the more exact term for suffering, we can say unsatisfactory. Dukkha is unsatisfactoriness of all the things. You know that everyone has their own problem, and the problem we may call that problem is their own dukkha. The poor has the problem of the poor. The rich has the problem of the rich. Even the beautiful also has the problem of the beautiful. You see? So everyone has their own problem. And usually, when we have suffering, we always think because of something else or because of someone else that we are suffering. For example, because of my children. They don't listen to me. They are so stubborn. I want them to be good in their studies, but they are very lazy. So that is why I feel so bad. I feel suffering. So you think because of your son that you feel suffering. But not because of your son, but because the son does not satisfy your need. Right? So that is because of our greed, our expectation. Because we think that it is our son, it is our husband, it is our parents, and we want them to be such and such and such, and they don't want to be like that. They want their own way. And then they say, because of them I'm suffering. But deeper, if we think more deeply, we can say that it is not because of them, but because of our expectation that we put on them that make us suffer. That is why the Buddha said that the cause of suffering is not from outside. It is the cause of our suffering is our own craving, our own tanha, our own greed, our own wish, our own expectations. And there are three kinds of craving. It is called craving. Is in Pali. It is called tanha, and craving, and three kinds: sensual craving, and then craving for existence, and then craving for non-existence. Kama tanha, phava tanha, and vibhava tanha. In the formula of the paticca samuppada, the dependence origination, you say that the Buddha described from where we have craving. There is craving. Why we have craving? Why is there craving? Because craving does not appear suddenly. Why we are so craving? We are so greedy. Not out of sudden. There is the cause, and there is effect, that we can say the condition. So what is the condition for the tanha? The Buddha said the condition for the tanha is the Vedana. Vedana paccaya tanha. So Vedana means feeling. From feeling, there is craving. So why? What is that? I will explain to you in detail. You know that feeling. All the time we have feeling, right? At every moment, when there is a mind, then there is a feeling. Feeling is a cetasika or mental factor. Anytime, for example, when we sit here, if you sit in the sunshine, you feel very hot. So that hot is your feeling. But if I sit here, I feel very cool. So cool is my feeling. Sometimes cool is pleasant, so that I have pleasant feeling. But if sometimes you are not accustomed to sitting on the cushion, on the floor, then you feel a little bit unpleasant. So that your feeling now is unpleasant feeling, right? And sometimes you only feel neutral. It's okay to sit in the sun. Not so good, neither so bad. So it is called neutral feeling. So there are three kinds of feeling, either pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. So you see, usually when we have a pleasant feeling, what is our tendency?
We like it.
What is our tendency when we have pleasant feeling? We like it. We want it to be continuous, right? We want to maintain the pleasant feeling. For example, when you listen to good music, fine music, you want to sit and listen more and more. Or when you watch a movie, it's a good movie, you can sit for long hours, 3 hours, and you don't feel tired at all. So, right? You want to maintain the pleasant feeling. So that maintaining, it is called craving for existence. Right? You want that pleasant feeling exist ever and ever, forever. So you want the existence of the feeling. It is called craving for existence. Phava tanha. But the thing is that pleasant feeling can never last very long. It comes and goes, appears and disappears. Then when it goes, when the pleasant feeling disappears, we feel lost. So we have that kind of dukkha. It is called viparinama dukkha. Suffering due to change, due to loss. So you see that even pleasant feeling can lead to suffering. Via what? Via our craving for its existence. If we don't have that craving, then it's okay. For example, the Buddha also has that kind of pleasant feeling. But when he sees that it's a feeling, he says, oh, okay, it is pleasant. But he doesn't want it to prolong because he knows that it cannot last. If we know clearly, properly, that it cannot last, then we will not wish that it will last very long. And then we don't have phava tanha. And without phava tanha, we don't have viparinama dukkha. How we can say that? So now we go to another kind of feeling, unpleasant feeling, dukkha, dukkha vedana. So what is our tendency when we have dukkha?
We don't get
We
rid of
want
it.
to remove it. We want it to disappear. For example, many people are scared of sitting meditation, right? For example, when you come here and Ayya said that now let us sit for 1 hour. Oh, 1 hour, too much. I can't. Even though you haven't sat down yet, you feel scared. And what are you scared of? The pain, right? The pain. Because after a while, about 15 or 30 minutes, our leg will pain, our back will pain. You will feel pain here and there, everywhere. And then, you see, when we have the painful feeling, suffering feeling, bad feeling, what is our tendency? We want to reject it. We want it to disappear. We want it not to exist anymore. That is why we change the position. While we are sitting, we want to stand up. When we are standing, we want to sit down. Right? We change the position to remove the painful feeling. So that tendency is craving for non-existence. Viphava tanha. We want that bad feeling not to exist anymore. So craving for non-existence. We call that one is viphava tanha. But it is, you see, even though we want it to disappear, but sometimes it does not. For example, when we have tooth pain, toothache, sometimes medicine cannot help. The pain is still there, always there. And you feel not only the toothache, after that, your mind also ache. You feel very bad, angry, very uneasy. So, you see that at first we only have bodily feeling, toothache, only bodily feeling. But after that we have mental feeling. I don't want it, but it is there. So that is called dukkha. One layer of dukkha on the other dukkha. So dukkha. That is the second kind of dukkha. First one is called viparimana dukkha, and then now dukkha. You see, so that from the bad feeling, from dukkha vedana, and then we have viphava tanha, and then it leads to dukkha. Now, the third kind of feeling, neutral feeling, upekkha vedana. When we have neutral feeling, it usually is okay, because it's neither pleasant nor unpleasant. But, for example, now, on Sunday morning, you are very free, nothing to do. And then we ask you, just sit there, not to do anything. 2 hours. What do you feel? You feel bored. Oh, so bored. I don't want this. So what will you do? I will turn on the TV. Right? Otherwise it's so bored. You want to find a strong feeling, a pleasant feeling. That's why you turn on the TV, you switch on the music, then you go make coffee, and you will cook something to eat. Right? So it is called, what kind of craving? Sensual, craving for sensual pleasure. Sensual pleasure. Through the 6 organs. For example, the eyes, you want to see movie, it is for the eyes. For the ear. And then if you want to drink coffee, is it for the tongue? For the organs, we want to find pleasant feelings. So it is called kama tanha. Kama is sensual pleasure. So when we have neutral feeling, we feel bored. So we have the tendency to find something strong, something pleasant, and usually it is sensual pleasure. And due to that, you have that one that is called sankhara dukkha. Sankhara dukkha. Sankhara means formation or action. You are suffering because you have to do action, to make action. You can't sit idle. You have to do this, to do that, to fight pleasant feelings. So this one is the way how we create our own suffering, not because of ourselves, other people. Our own craving, our own tanha, create our own suffering. And that is what the Buddha realized. The first 2 kinds of dukkha, of satya, of truth. The truth of suffering and the truth of the cause of suffering. So I think that this understanding is very important for us, because sometimes we don't know what is the cause of our suffering. What is the problem of our life? And if we don't know the cause, we cannot destroy it. We cannot destroy the suffering. We cannot cease the suffering. So when we know the cause, then we can do something to destroy it. And the Buddha also taught us how to cease the suffering, how to remove suffering. And you know the way, huh? So what is the way? That is the way that the Buddha teaches us to remove all kind of suffering. Yes.
The Eightfold Path.
The eightfold path.
Yeah.
Yes. And also, what is also called another name? What is the name of that path? Middle path.
Middle path, yes.
Yes, middle path. Huh? And why this middle? Middle between what? Between two what?
Extremes.
Two extremes. Yes. One is. The first extreme is.
Too tight, too loose.
Too tight or too loose. But neither too tight nor too loose. But what is tight? Two extremes. Huh?
Yeah.
The Buddha said that we should avoid two extremes. The first extreme is indulgence in sensual pleasures. And the second extreme is self-mortification. Usually people are diverted into this or that extreme. For example, the Buddha himself, when he was a prince, he indulged in sensual pleasure, but he couldn't find happiness. And after that, he left the royal palace, and he became an ascetic. He practiced self-mortification. He did not eat for 6 years. He ate only one sesame a day, or 1 grain of rice, and sometimes he did not eat at all, and he became only a skeleton. You know, many people in India in the ancient time, also at present, they think that self-mortification is the way out of suffering. Why? They said that we have done so many bad karmas. So it's good that we pay all the karma. We have to endure all kinds of sufferings until all the suffering is extinguished, is over. Then we can experience happiness. But that way is not the correct way. Why? You know that we cannot say that I will pay everything now. Whatever I was in debt, now I pay all. We couldn't pay all because it was too much in innumerable lives in the past. We cannot pay. So we should never make a vow that I pay all the bad things, on the debt in the past until I finish my debt, then I can attain Nibbana. Because it is innumerable. So what to do now? What to do is not to create anymore. Not to create anymore. And then if we don't create, then we stop being born again. And if we are not born, then we don't have to experience the suffering anymore. So that is the way. So the Buddha way is we don't create more karma. How? How not to create more karma? Only by vipassana. And it is taught in the Eightfold Noble Path. Eightfold Noble Path, first you say that there are 8 fetters. So who can enumerate the 8 fetters of the Eightfold Path? samadhi, right view, we can say in English, right view, and then right thought, then right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So these are 8 factors. These 8 factors we have to do together at one time. Not like, oh, after this I will do that. Because you see that if you know the Chinese herbal medicine, when we go to a Chinese physician, they give us some kinds of herbs medicine. For example, 8 kinds of herbs. So 8 kinds of herbs we have to boil and we drink at the same time, not one by one. So these 8 factors also we practice all the time. We practice, but for example, when you think rightly. When you speak rightly. When you do something, you do it rightly. So everything we do, it is right. It is in a right way. So it is called Eightfold Noble Path. And this Eightfold Noble Path, I think that the most important thing, and usually to be the Buddha discussed very, very clearly and in detail, that is right mindfulness. Right mindfulness is the way for us to practice in every moment. How to stop reacting, either in a bad way, sometimes, or in a wrong way. Wrong or better, sometimes, you see, the Buddha teach in the Sutta Mahasatipatthana Sutta, in the Digha Nikaya. We can say that the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Usually we live mindlessly, and because of our mindlessness, we do many wrong things. But with mindfulness, everything we do, we can do it rightly. For example, when we talk with mindfulness or mindfully. Then we can avoid wrong speech. For example, the Buddha often taught us, before we say something, we should consider whether it is true or not. If it is true, we speak. If it is not true, we don't speak. And then whether it is beneficial or not. Even though it's true, but if it is not beneficial, then we don't need to speak. And then whether it is timely or not. Sometimes when you say something true and beneficial, but it is not timely, then people won't listen. And then we have to consider whether it brings to harmony or not. Sometimes we say something true, but it do not bring harmony, but it creates schism. It creates quarrels. Then we don't need to say. To be mindful in everything we do, for example, in breathing, and then in walking, in sitting, in working, cooking, and then washing dishes. For example, when we wash the dishes, sometimes you wash the dishes, but you don't feel happy at all. You think, why I have to do this cleaning? But my children don't do it. My husband just sit there and watch and read newspapers, and I have to do all the housework. And you feel very, very sufferable, very suffering. Only you have to do the work, and everyone there, they don't pay attention to what to all this kind of nameless chores. So sometimes you see that only just an attitude can change our state of mind. If you think, it's okay, because now I'm still healthy, I can have time to serve my children. If some years later, when they are not here with me, they go away, they leave the home. Even though I want to cook a meal for them, I cannot do it. And now, even though they are still with me, but I'm not healthy, I'm sick. Even though, and then if I want to cook them a good meal, I can't either. So you see that to have good health and then to have someone you love to cook for them, to serve them, it is also a kind of happiness. And service is always one kind of kiriya vatu. Kiriya vatu, punya kiriya vatu means the things that you do, meritorious things that can bring merit to you. So here I want to mention the attitude in everything we do can change the state of mind and can bring our happiness or can bring our suffering. The same thing we do, but two attitudes can lead to two states of mind, right? And most of the young parents nowadays, I can see that they have many problems with the children. Usually the children nowadays, they are absorbed in playing games, in television, and in hanging out with friends, and they don't pay much attention to their own studies. And sometimes they don't even pay attention to what parents said. And parents are so worried about their own children, their future, and their mind, and then their life. Most of the parents, when they ask their children to study or to do something, and the children didn't listen, they feel very upset, very angry, right? You feel very angry. And when you feel angry, then you will shout at them, or sometimes you beat them because they don't listen. And you think that you are right when you get angry. But remember, anger is never right. Anger is akusala karma, and it is a very bad karma. So, when we feel angry, do not act, do not speak, because when we are angry and we cannot see our anger, the anger will be we can say that the owner. You are identified with your anger. You and anger are the same one. Then you act, you speak, and you react in a bad way. And you hurt your children, you hurt your relatives, and you hurt yourself. You create enmity. Even though the children, they didn't say, but inside they have dissatisfaction, and they have grudge, they have enmity towards what they don't like. So be calm. When we get angry, try to practice mindfulness of sensation. Listen, observe the anger. Stop and observe. What is this feeling? Oh, I'm angry. But usually not I'm angry. There is anger. There is angry feeling. Not I, no mind. There is the feeling of anger there. And then you observe that feeling. Very uneasy feeling. You feel hot. You feel your blood run faster. You feel your face very hot. It red, your head, your everything, the pulse, everything faster. But be patient, stop, and observe your feeling. When you observe your feeling, it is like a miracle. Your anger will disappear. You see, your anger will disappear. Why? Because when mindfulness appears, anger becomes the object of mindfulness. And you don't pay attention to the outside object anymore. Now your mindfulness observe your anger. Anger becomes the object. Now it is not the subject. It becomes an object. and anger disappears immediately. This is, we can say that this miracle of mindfulness. So whenever we feel angry, please stop, observe the feeling of anger, and then when you calm down, you should find the good way how to explain to your children why they should do this and they should not do that. Be patient to explain until they understand. If they understand, then they will stop doing bad things. When they don't understand, then they will continue to do what they like. So being a parent is a very difficult thing, but also very beneficial, because we have to learn also. We have to learn to be patient, to be understanding, and to be persuasive. We have to try a good way to persuade our children what is the good of being diligent, what is the good of being kind, being compassionate. We need to find a way to explain everything to our children. And in order to do that, we have to think, we have to read, we have to consult other people to become a good parent. That wise, to be a good parent is also a good way for practice. Even though it is very time-consuming, very energy-consuming, but it is very beneficial. And also, during that time, we also can practice mindfulness. Mindfulness in thinking, in acting, in speaking, towards not only our children, but with everyone around us. So mindfulness helps us to do everything carefully, lovingly, and with less mistakes. You know, when we walk, why we stumble? We stumble because we don't pay attention to the road. We look on the sky. We look into the sky and see, and then we didn't pay attention to the pebbles or to the rocks there. That's why we stumble. But we pay attention to our steps when we are walking, then it is very difficult to stumble or to fall down. Even in the same way, when you are doing your job at your company, at your factory, you are 100% mindful and careful in every action, in every motion. It can enhance the quality of life and the quality of mind. When you are in the kitchen, you are mindful, you are careful of every activity of your hands. When you are cutting, when you are cooking, when you are boiling, there will be no mistakes. When there will be no cutting of your fingers, or there will be no burning of the pots. So 100% mindful. Whatever we do, we are mindful of it. That is mindfulness in daily life. And that is also the only way not to create karma. Because, you know, when we are mindful, only the second, the moment mindfulness arises, then unwholesome mind disappears. Mindfulness arises, then unwholesome like greed, hatred, ignorance, all disappear at once, right away. You observe, you experience. For example, now we just sit here. Now you close your eyes and you observe your breathing. Breathing in, you observe the breathing in. Breathing out, you observe the breathing out. You don't think about anything, just observe. You see, at the time of observing, there is no greed, there is no hatred, there is no ignorance, there is the wisdom, there is mindfulness there to see what is happening at the moment. So, that is the way to escape from suffering. How? Because our suffering comes from our craving. But when mindfulness is there, craving cannot be there. In the Buddhist psychology, it is said that at one moment there is only one kind of mind, only one state of mind. If the wholesome mind is there, then the unwholesome mind cannot exist. And if the unwholesome mind is there, then the wholesome mind cannot exist. Wholesome and unwholesome can never coexist. And mindfulness is wholesome. That is why when mindfulness arises, unwholesomeness like hatred or anger or greed or ignorance disappear right away. So what we have to do is only to maintain mindfulness. Mindfulness in whatever we do. And that is what the Buddha teaches in the Eightfold Noble Path. And the Eightfold Noble Path can be summarized in only three. We can say Visakha, three training: Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. Sila is morality. Samadhi is concentration, and Panya is wisdom. And in daily life, we can say that Sila is caution, or we can say care, with care. And concentration is mindfulness. Concentration 100% in what we are doing. It is concentration. And wisdom is aware of what we are doing, what we are thinking. That is all. The practice in Buddhism is very simple. Be cautious, be concentrated, and be aware in everything we do. And every time, every moment, when we have mindfulness, at that moment, we don't have mental defilements, we don't have kilesa, then we don't have suffering, then we are out of suffering. And that is the destruction of suffering we call Nibbana. Nibbana is not a realm, not a sphere elsewhere. Nibbana is the state absent of greed, absent of hatred, and absent of ignorance. So whatever moment we are without three kinds of mental poison, that is greed, hatred, and ignorance, at that moment we can say that we have Nibbana. Moment Nibbana. Nibbana is only a state without suffering, without mental defilements. And because the Buddha is in this state all the time, that is why we call he realized Nibbana. For us, our Nibbana is very, very short. Sometimes because we are not mindful enough, then kilesa appears, mental defilements appears, and at that time we have suffering. So our duty is try to maintain mindfulness in everything we do, in breathing, in walking, in sitting, in speaking, in eating, in going to bathroom, in everything we do. And that is meditation. Meditation is not only go into the meditation hall and sit down for 1 hour, and then after 1 hour, what's next? What's next? Oh, we went out very freely, happily, and speak, and mindlessly.
Right.
Then 1 hour of meditation is not enough. But mindfulness all the time. At first, we find it's very difficult because it becomes our habit to wander here and there, remember the past, imagine the future. We are not in the present. But now we just pay attention to what we do. And that is mindfulness. So today is a Vesak day, the day the Buddha get enlightenment. I hope that today we also get enlightenment. Every moment. And if we can do that, we can also become a Buddha. Buddha is not for one person. Buddhahood is for everyone. Everyone can become a Buddha. The Buddha is the one who got enlightened and who has shown us the way. The way is very clear. Now our duty is to walk on the path he has walked. If we walk correctly and steadfastly, then we can attain what the Buddha has attained. So what is the time now? Let me see, because now it is 3:12. So our time is until 3:50, 3:30. Yes. So I think that now it's time for our discussion. We have 15 minutes for discussion. About this topic, how to become a Buddha, how to maintain mindfulness, and best apply mindfulness in our daily life to cut off the suffering, to cut off the cause of suffering. Then we can attain Nibbana. So I want to hear from you what you feel difficult when you practice mindfulness or meditation. What is your obstacle? Please.
Pride and ego. I think the ego looks at what I do and tells me you're doing good things, And so then I ask myself, well, why are you doing good things? What do you expect out of it? And even if I don't expect anything external, I do get a good feeling on the inside, so it's still that pleasantness. How do I understand when I'm doing something not for pleasantness? Because I can't discern between the two.
About ego. I think that ego or the concept of self, I or mine. Usually we have the concept that there is an I or mine here. But the Buddha gave us the way how to understand that there is no I at all. The I is only the concept. You see, what is here is only mind and body.
Right.
Body is borrowed from outside.
Right.
From the moment we are conceived in the mother's womb. So it is from from the semen from the father and the egg from the mother. What we contribute is the patisanti, relinking consciousness. We call relinking consciousness. After we pass away in the past life, and then after that we call the death moment. And after the death moment is called birth relinking moment, or birth relinking mind. Only one mind, one state of mind. So the meeting of the three factors, the birth linking mind, and then the semen of the father and the egg of the mother, it becomes a new being. So we can see that this body is borrowed from father and mother,
right.
And then from the four elements
of the earth,
the
right.
four elements from the nature. So there is no I at all, or mine at all. It is all borrowed.
But with lifetime conditioning, it's very difficult to not live that way, because the I